Chêne Bois, Chêne Bois, Chêne. This song is from Kassav, which is a Creole band from Martinique, where they sing in the Creole language. And the song that they were singing is called Chêne Bois. In St. Lucia, there is that same type of refrain, which is a call and answer type of riddle. When riddles are being said, somebody would shout Chêne, the audience would respond Bois, and the person would give a riddle. For example, Chêne, the audience responds Bois, the person says, you need to dance with me for me to work. And then, what am I? So then that would be the way of going in traditional Creole way of announcing and giving out a riddle. Chêne Bois, riddle, answer. You have to dance for me to work, it's a broom. But bois in Creole is wood. Bois, B-O-I-S in French, is wood as well. But the important thing I want us to focus on, this important word is called Chêne Bois. Now Chêne Bois is a word to mean witchcraft in St. Lucia. But don't think of it as that, because chêne or chêne is oak. So oak craft. In French, C-H-E-N-E with the accent over the first E is oak. So there's a plant called the tabula rosea. Okay, the tabula rosea, also known as a pui tree. Okay, and this is a rosy trumpet tree, a neotropical tree that grows up to 30 meters or 98 feet and can reach a diameter or a breast height of about 3 feet. The Spanish call it the roble de savana, or the savanna oak. It is widely used in Costa Rica, and it is the national tree of El Salvador. Its wood resembles the oak wood. So there you have it. You have that Chêne Bois, French chêne, meaning oak, oak wood. Creole history tells us, or the Creole culture says, that Chêne Bois is witchcraft, but literally translated, it's oak wood. So now we have an understanding of woodcraft. To boil it down to its simplest form, it's the idea of using wood in craft, wood science, wood in your culture, wood in everything. Some of the examples, for examples, are bois madame, bois, which is a flexible wood used in broomsticks. You have bois grillé, which is a grilling or firewood. You have bois bandé, which is a wood used in concoctions for male potency or male enhancement, bois bandé. You have bois flambeau, which is a firewood. You have bois cabrit, which is feed for animals. You have bois maho or blue maho, mahogany, right? And in St. Lucia, on the east coast of the island, there's an area called Mahaut, M-A-H-A-U-T, which in olden days was filled with timbers, which the men used to go up and spend weeks there sawing wood and bringing it down into the villages. And that is the Mahaut area, a forested area with wonderful timbers. A publication by the British from the histories of the colonies of the British Empire states that in St. Lucia the mountains are clothed with fine timbers, right? So, and then there was also a place in Pasias, Miku, St. Lucia, called a fine timbers sawmill. The sawmill was called Fine Timbers. So now we start looking at the importance of trees in the indigenous culture, which has had a lasting legacy and reaching into the Creole culture, which we now understand. They have it in the drinks, in the medicines. Think of the hammocks that are made, in weaving, in baskets for fishing, in baskets for carrying things, boats, the gommier tree, to make boats that were so large and long that they could handle 100 indigenous people in them. When the Spanish came in, they saw these amazing boats, seafaring culture made from those gommier trees, those boats by the indigenous people. The mortar and pestle used for pounding cocoa to make cocoa. Alright? And you have masquerades where they use leaves and trees in dancing festivals. So these are the history which finds itself in the Creole culture right now, but it's probably an echo and an offshoot from the indigenous people. But it is important for us to understand that think of the relationship that these indigenous people had. Think of those rainforests, the Amazon rainforest, the mountainous regions of Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent. When the Spanish came, those places, those hills were forested and covered with huge trees. Barbados was said to have so much trees before the British colonized that place and wiped out the trees and the population of the trees in there. But the indigenous people, when the Spanish and the Europeans encountered them, were living in a forested area, and the relationship that they had with the plants and the trees still can be seen in the reverberations of the culture, of the Creole culture today, with the way that bois and woods and trees are looked at, and the histories through the canoe and the hammocks and the baskets and the mortar and pestles. For example, in the drinks, there's a drink in St. Lucia called a bacontois, which is a mixture of herbs and spices and roots put into an alcoholic beverage, allowed for the roots and the herbs to release their potency into the alcohol, and patrons drink that. This type of putting roots and herbs and leaves into drinks is all over the South America, Latin America, and the Caribbean. It is something that you can find a type of drink like that all over the Caribbean and the Americas, or South and Latin America. You have mate, which is Spanish or Portuguese traditional South American caffeine-rich infused herbal drink. You have ayahuasca, which is made from vines and leaves and shrubs. And you have all those drinks. So medicine, drinks, tools, and probably they revered and respected the forest, worshipped possibly certain trees, but the relationship was a lot different than what we have existing today. When the Europeans came down and saw those magnificent forests and the peoples living in those forested jungles and lands, and kind of residing in there and having a relationship with them, and thriving under it. So this is what we get when we look at the idea of bois and Chêne Bois, or craft of wood, using wood, which was so unknown that they called it witchcraft, right? The Europeans were like, whoa, these people are making aputu clubs and boats, 100 with 100 people, by hollowing out a tree trunk. So there you have it. When you think of the idea of sustainable development and the relationship that indigenous people had with the trees and the forest, as compared to what it is now, as seen as a resource for capitalism, for exploitation, for profit, as compared to what the indigenous people have, you begin to understand deforestation and what's going on with climate change in a different light, right? So, if you like the content, hit the bell so you will be told when a new one gets released. Hit the icon for liking, and also don't forget to subscribe. See you on the next one. I'm looking forward to bringing you lots of content like this. Looking forward to it.